conference coming up in July. I did the official introduction already. And of course, we have Ras Caleb, as we mentioned, children's author, activist, and organizer or coordinator of the Rastafari Global Reasoning. We say blessed love, greetings, and welcome, my brother. Welcome.
Give thanks for having I.
Yes, you're welcome. You're so welcome. So, the first question I want to put to you is, in terms of the Rastafari Global Reasoning, is this something similar to what took place some years ago at the University of the West Indies? There was a global reasoning, right?
Yes, it is. The Rastafari Global Reasoning took place at UWI
Right.
in July 2003, 2 decades ago.
Wow.
And this Rastafari Global Reasoning actually commemorates 20 years of that global reasoning since it took place. And it is also commemorating 40 years of the second International Rastafari Conference, aka Rastafari International Theocracy Assembly, also known as RITA Conference of 1983. So it's 40 years since RITA, and it's 20 years since the last Rastafari Global Reasoning.
Is there any particular reason why that global reasoning from that time, 20 years ago, wasn't held either annually or biannually or whatever? It was pretty productive and pretty successful. I know I attended. What is the reason behind why we waited 20 years to have another one?
Well, as one of the coordinators of the Global Reasoning in 2003, I represent the Global Kitchen, right? That was a conference. I was about 23 years old at the time, 24, and that was a conference that I shall never forget.
Right.
That is why I took it up upon my own initiative, right, to begin the planning and the organizing of this global reasoning since October 2022.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until about maybe December, January, where the Secretariat was able to become more localized, because I started off with an international secretariat, to get views and ideas and sentiments coming from the international Rastafari community. That's how we remedy things within the community locally here. We reach out to a community because it's international. And there was a move to push for a Rastafari Global Reasoning. The Rastafari Global Reasoning is a brand of the Nyabing, right? And I would like to read something that I wrote in promotion, right, to promote this as a Nyabingi brand of Rastafari. I've approached the National Nyabingi administration concerning this, and in terms of full endorsement of the next global reasoning, I have received the full endorsement from various houses, organizations, including the Nyabingi, of which I attended in April at Pit 4, Montego Bay, and received a full endorsement, green lights. So I'm asking the world to join the Rastafari Global Reasoning, a dynamic brand with the Jamaica's Nyabingi Theocracy reign order since 2003. Together, I embody the power of community action. I unique approach involves engaging thought-provoking conferences known as reasonings. Through these gatherings, I create a space for collective reflection and introspection. By temporarily full embracing a retrograde mindset, moving forward in time in order to move onward, I tap into boundless opportunities for growth and evolution. This enables the community to revise perspectives and full embrace unlimited possibilities itinerary. That's how the Rastafari community reasons. Join the community on this transformative journey as I come together to shape a better future. Let's reason, reflect, and inspire positive change locally and regionally. If you notice, we're talking about revising, we're talking about reasoning, we're talking about reflect, we're talking about retrograde. Is a time to go forward and think, right? It's a time for a retrograde mindset, right? For analyze and study the community, the reports, the documentaries, the teachings of our elders and their warnings, the pointers will come from out of our conferences, pointing us in a socio-economic and political and cultural direction for the future, right? We need to come together this year and full embrace Rastafari achievement and what has been achieved in the past. And in order
So,
to understand where we are now, we may have to just look back and reflect a bit, but not long, right? That's how we remedy issues and problems, because we need to go forward immediately. So we're not going to continue to just stay in reflection, we have to move forward, right? And for this reason, the globe of Rastafari shall meet right here in Jamaica at UWI. 2 days
so,
at the Never Hall Lecture Theatre Hall, N1, and 2 days at Bull Bay, right? At the Lions Bay.
the Lions Bay at the Bob Marley Beach. But what I want to find out though, because you'd have heard various persons saying that there's a lot of divisiveness, there's a lot of misunderstandings, and the unity is not there as it was originally. And I mean, that's I wouldn't say inevitable, but I would say that it's of concern sometimes based on what are some of the things that are happening or not happening, by the way, in the mansions. What would have inspired you? Would that have been one of the reasons, by the way, to have inspired you to want to do the global reasoning this year in particular, 20 years later, based on
well,
that?
it coincides with a lot of things, not just given what the community is experiencing, because what the community is experiencing, it need to eclipse that. And this is the year to eclipse all of those issues that we're having with each others, that we're having with our organizations, and that we're having with our leadership, right? And it is because of research, right? And paying attention, right, to things of the spirit and to our own Pan-Africanism and Rastafari history, right, and events, that this year is actually a golden jubilee. It is 60 years since the formation of the OAU, 60 years since His Majesty addressed the UN, 60 years since Coral Gardens massacre, right? 85 years since Ethiopia joined the League of 85 years since EWF come Jamaica 1938. 90 years since Honorable Leonard Hall began to preach Rastafari divinity, early 1933. A century since Ethiopia has joined the League of Nations, 1923. 65 years since the last Bakawal meeting, 1958. 55 years since 12 tribes, right? Is 25 years since School of Vision. It's 40 years since Pit 4, Nyabingi Center, 1983. Right? There are too many commemorations to commemorate this year. Thus
Powerful
the
year,
theme
man.
of the conference. Thus the theme of the conference, Rastafari Golden Jubilation, I Liberation. The fact it's a Jubilee year, I need to know also. I liberate that.
Absolutely.
And go forward. And we I liberate it also by revising. It's through revision and moving forward. You understand? So a portal is open this year. Since it's a jubilee, and it pivots I and I as the Rastafari community globally to prepare for, right, a greater jubilee year that is coming, which is the centenary of the coronation of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I of Ethiopia. You understand? And that is in 2030, 7 years from now. So the Rastafari Global Reason 2023 also pivots I and I to begin to discuss and have meetings as to how we're going to deal with that Diamond Jubilee.
Absolutely.
And Platinum
It's a big
Jubilee
thing.
that is coming 7 years from now.
So, okay, you say you started the plans in October, all right, and you reached out to the different mansions. What have the responses been like from the different mansions, and how are they going to participate? Because we're talking about a couple weeks from now, eh?
A month plus 5 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Well, is one thing with, sometimes Rastafari protocol and some things take time. I have some stories to tell. It's not incriminating or anything like that. It's just a reality. That the community tend to move and respond slowly to things. Confirmations sometimes takes months. I give thanks for School of Vision, who will also be coming out, to chant with I and will be present, at the event during the opening ceremony. The drumming is a part of the community.
And the opening ceremony will be held on the 14th at University.
Yeah, on the 13th. And the 13th.
Okay.
But it took a while for School of Vision to confirm. Just to do the drumming, for example,
Right.
months. And that is how the community sometimes operate. And sometimes it can be frustrating
Of
if
course.
you're not patient and if you're not familiar with how the community moves. I've been engaged in 12 tribes of Israel for a particular type of participation. They support and they will be present, but in terms of the particular participation that I presented, that was 6 months ago. I'm
Well,
yet,
yeah,
I'm yet to
you
get
say
a
start in
response.
October.
12 tribes of Israel. I know you'll be participating, but
You need to know the
there's a
format. How?
specific
Yeah.
participation that I'm asking, and I'm yet to receive it. As for the other organizations and things like that, everything is well. Communities being sensitized, flyers and things like that is being put up right now, crossroad as we speak. Halfway
So,
tree, yesterday was up at Garden Town Road and a few other places. So
so,
we'll go
so,
for
so
you.
the official opening will be on the 13th, which is what, a Thursday?
Yeah, the 13th is a Thursday.
Right. Take us through. We don't have much time, but take us through the different days, especially at the university initially, and what is going to be happening in terms of topics, the format, if you have that. Yeah, the format.
Okay. Well, the first day, which is the opening day, begin at 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., right? And that will take place at the Never Hall Lecture Theatre, right? Over humanities, UEMONA. And the opening ceremony, one of the main features of it is the tributes to Sam Brown, who was associated with the Ritter Conference of 1983, and the tribute to Bingi Lion, who was associated with the Global Reason in 2003. Right, there will be a Sam Brown lecture as a part of the tribute for Sam Brown, right? And we're inviting his family members out. And the family members of Bingi Lion will deliver the tribute, on that same 13th of July during the opening ceremony, the tributes. There will also be salutations to professors associated with both conferences, because none of these conferences could have taken place without these professors being involved, such as Professor Emeritus's Roy Agier, Rex Nettleford, and Barry Chavans. The 14th is what I call Africa Day, right? Because we're also honoring Pan-Africanism, where I'm asking the consulates, the embassies to come out and to present the Igbo Association of Jamaica, and I'm asking them to come out with food, you understand, want to have a taste of Africa, whether it's just, free or even on sale. We want to taste Africa. Tata Harum Anubi, from South Africa, right, is an invited guest. He will present on that Africa Day as well. There will be a few community presentations on that day. One of them will be on IP rights, intellectual property rights. It is very important.
Very important.
That is a wealth creative, idea, concept that need to be operationalized. Rastafari need a Rastafari Intellectual Property Office, just like you have a Jamaica Intellectual Property Office. And in order for us to have that, we'd need to establish a Rastafari Intellectual Property Act, right, that allows these things. The government know that, and give thanks that members of the Rastafari Millennium Council has been on top of this in the past. So that is what the second day look like. And, there will be openings, of course, and things that I'm not speaking right now, on that same Africa Day. The third day, which is at the Lions Bay Tabernacle, Nyabingi Tabernacle Center Space, right? Bob Marley Beach, right? Bullet Bay, right? Why we call it the Lions Bay Nyabingi Tabernacle Center is because a space has been earmarked for a Nyabingi Tabernacle Center, right? Museum with memory board, all of these things. You understand? Smithsonian will have some involvement in terms of the memory board because they have documented all of the actions associated with that space, right? And Jake's Homiak is that person, right? But in terms of the tabernacle now, since we're saying Lions Bay Tabernacle, we're not going to meet at a tabernacle. We're going to tent out professionally on the beach. So just imagine huge tents, beer chairs, mic, this and that, people seated,
Wow.
breathe
Yeah.
low palm way because the beach right there. So, the setting, the environment, the essence of the spaces of beauty. You understand? We're supposed to get on conference, positively, and with a good spirit, right? But next to that space where we're conference is a tabernacle space. Has been earmarked and
But there's
been
a
cleaned up
tabernacle
around.
that was out there that was being fixed up. Are you going to utilize that structure?
Exactly. That is why, right? That is why, in doing the history, we don't call it Bull Bay, Lion's Bay, because I put them, it's a beer lion dead and a bull never did a bull in a body. So it's a Lion's Bay, Naya being the tabernacle
Love it.
center.
Love it.
Right? What existed in the past is going to exist now and even beyond, because it'll come with a museum. Remember, say Rastafari have them property in Montego Bay from Smithsonian. I know we have no museum for store it in our government to pay some entity to keep it in. You understand?
Yep.
Smithsonian have the rest of our artifacts in. You understand? All we need is a museum and make these requests, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. And you see how the community make it look complicated? You see? So Denise Isis Miller, right? This conference is presented, to I by RAC. Rastafari Action Committee in association with Social Crew, right? The School of Sacrament, Rastafari University, right? That Jelani them deal with that, right? But that's for RAC. RAC is a Rastafari Action Committee, and it is here to deal with perennial problems affecting the Rastafari community. By perennial problems, we mean those problems that continue to exist from generation to generation to generation. They must now cease and desist. Rock the place. Pinnacle.
Absolutely.
Reparations.
Yeah, man.
Whatever
We have so many big issues that we have to deal with.
For solve all these problems affecting the Rastafari community. It's about action, and we need committees around this. We need protest groups, lobby groups. That is what RAC is about.
Give thanks.
You see? We have active around here. RAC is also a thinking tank and a community action group.
For persons who want to get in contact with you,
others around the world.
For persons who want to get in contact with you regarding ROC and regarding the whole organization and itinerary of the Rastafari Global Reason, can you give your social media handles? Are there numbers, email addresses, and so forth, so persons can indeed link up with you?
Well, you can email RAC Jamaica, that's RAK Jamaica @gmail.com, right? RAC will also be stream live in the conference through its Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages as well, right? In terms of a number, I give out my number in publicly. 1-876-864-7374.
Repeat that number again, Caleb.
864-7374. And in terms of the email, RAK, RAK, Jamaica @gmail.com. Right, and visit RAC on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Who else is a part of the? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm asking the community members to go online and look up Social Crew, SOSACRU, right? And when you Google it, you'll get the link to Social Crew's website. I don't remember if it's socialcrew.edu.jm, and I don't want to be incorrect, but when you Google Social Crew, right, the links will be there as
come up.
How to get in contact also with Social Crew, because Social Crew is in partnership with the conference, and I give thanks for Social Crew. Give thanks for the office space at UE, right? I give thanks for the Friday meetings where we meet every Friday also with Social Crew, right? Almost religiously, right? Social Crew help for get in a direction, right?
So they ultimately are part of the Secretariat. Who are the other members who are part of the Secretariat for the?
The Secretariat Global, man. The Secretariat Local and Global. The most recent additions to the Secretariat, because there's an assistance being given to the Rastafari Global Reason Secretariat in dealing with the 22-point plan that came from out of RITA, right, which is a plan of action which I deal with socio-economic, cultural, and political development in the Rastafari community, and it needs to be an analysis, right, because we need to, during the conference, we need to have new pointers for the next 20 years. So Ras Flacco is a recent member of the Secretariat. Priest Ian, who's a priest of priests within Nyabingi, right, from out of Barbados. We have early members of the Secretariat, Queen Mother Moses, Ifia, Sister Masani. These are the empresses that actually helped to give me direction, in the earlier period, and actually pointed me to the University of the West Indies, that because Rita was kept there and the last global reasoning was kept
right,
there,
Santa
that you should also, keep there. Because I was thinking elsewhere. I'm sure Yui is tired of Rasta approaching them for a space for meat.
No, but they're entitled to give us a space to meet.
And I wanted to do different, but I also have to listen to people with experience and history. So I approached Yui, and that space is booked, and 2 days will be at Yui, and the next 2 days will be at
Lions Bay,
Bob Marley Beach, Bull Bay, where the community can meet and discuss what they want to discuss, how they want to discuss it. Right, although there will be protocols, you can burn your ganja, your steam chalice, your burn chalice, nobody not there to tell you nothing. You understand? You're free, and that's why we need Rastafari spaces, the conference. That's why we need museums for house, we own artifacts, bring people to Jamaica more than what artifacts they are foreign, and I bring credibility to other institutions.
Oh boy, name of the Smithsonian. Let's not. Yeah, we're not afraid to call the name of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but we have to give thanks for them same way.
Well, of course, they took it on tour.
Watch this now with the memory board. I wish it was some community members who could approach and say, all right, we're going to set up a memory board for all Haitians, them associated with that space and their history. And then Smithsonian have them thing there. So we have to give thanks for Smithsonian.
But we need to have these things in our hands.
Look away, everything divine, because I generation. Right, I'm gonna bring the whole of them thing to fire, and we'll set up museum and space. You understand? That's why we tried east. I focus east right now.
Yeah, man.
East is the thing I tried from, right? And east is underdeveloped. You see, Surrey is underdeveloped.
But we're gonna change that. We're gonna change that.
We have Mama Fire Portland. We're forgot now, Not Sunny Hill. I miss my Sunny Hill. Bingy them, River roundabout. What more you want than that?
We're out of time, Caleb. Ras Caleb, thank you so much. We'll talk again before the conference for sure. But thank you for your time. Thank you. It sounds like it's well structured, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to show interest in terms of how they can participate. And I want to salute you and your team, your secretariat, for actually, recognizing that this is a 20th anniversary, in some entities 60th, and the list goes on for this particular year. So we're looking forward, and we'll speak again before the actual conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And if I were Denise, right, I would have Ras Caleb on once a week.
Is that going to be a sponsorship? If it's a sponsorship, fine.
Why not? Why not? I can get it on.
Yeah, man, we
right,
can
we're confirming it, when I have to talk again about it today.
All right. Yeah, once it's sponsored, no problem.
Send the logo.
No problem, yeah. All right, we'll talk. Thank you so much. This has been Roots FM 96.1 on the FM band. And of course, give thanks for the Rastafari Global Rising, Ras Caleb, it seems like it's going to be something that's really strong. And it's so needed, especially at this time. So we give thanks for those of you on Facebook, those of you on YouTube, Twitter, all of you. Please get some responses going. Make some comments also on the Facebook page, all right? So we're going to take a little pause for the cause. Arlene Bailey will not be in studio this morning. We're going to do a repeat of her program. She's not able to do the program today, but we will have a repeat of her program. All right, so stay tuned. We're going to take a pause for the cause, and we'll soon come.